Srivatsangam Mahoraskam Vanamala Virajidam Shankachakradharam Devam Krishnam Vande Jagagurum. Om Shri Krishna Paramatmane Namaha. I bow to Lord Krishna, the preceptor of the universe, who wears a garland of white flowers and is adorned with a conch and the discus in his hands. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanao Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvina Atitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Let us be protected, let us be nourished, let our studies be enthusiastically done, and may they lead us to the greatest and the highest. And above all, may we never have cause to fight with each other. Hari Om, that's it. So welcome to our next session on the Udhhava Geeta. And I know it's a bit hard going, but still, I think one day maybe people will come to understand that's a very important aspect of the basics of Hinduism. So now, we'll just recap a bit. Bhagavan says in the previous that the man who actually sees only the multiplicity. There is actually one. There's only one. There is no many. There's no two. There's no many. There's only one. And that is that Brahman, Satchit, Ananda, existence, consciousness, bliss, which he has been talking about for so long. So that is the only thing which is there. The others, everything else that we see is a superimposition on that plain white screen, colorless, qualityless, endless, infinite white screen which is always there. Like we cannot see the play, the drama which is being projected on an empty screen. There has to be a white screen behind it in the TV. So also this multiplicity is only being projected. It has no real value in itself. So the jiva loses all self-awareness. It becomes agitated, both in the waking state and the dream state, because it sees only the multiplicity. And it becomes fearful. Anything other than one causes fear. Duality actually causes fear. And like he has given the example of the snake and the rope. The person in olden days, no light, he goes out in the veranda and sees a coiled up snake. But he screams and shouts, his heart palpitates, and his hands are shivering and sweaty. Somebody comes with a light and shows it and says, oh, this is only a rope. Then only his fear goes. So with the coming of knowledge, the fear goes. Similarly, as long as we have no knowledge of what this creation is like, we are fearful. We see only the changing states, which are not the Atman, which is a true seer. And the body, when allied with these external objects, generate fear till death. Till death we will have this fear, unless it gets enlightenment before death, which destroys its identification with all these numerous things. So either death or enlightenment has to be there before the seer, the person is free from fear. So long as it sees only the multiplicity, it is fearful. So only by death of that body or by enlightenment can it be free from fear, is what he said. So what is the thing? It's like, it's a mono act. You know what a mono act? In olden days, used to have one man used to act as various characters. It was very amazing. The very, very good actors could do that. They would take various characters. So the omnipotent being is the creator and the created, the savior and the saved. That being is both the destroyer and the destroyed. And it is that Atman that shines as the many. There is no many, there is only one. That which is accepted in this world in its threefold aspect. He has already said, Adhyatmika, Adibhaudika, And Adi Daivaga is a false superimposition on the Atman, like the snake on the rope. What is Adhyatmika? That whenever you see or enjoy or experience anything, there is a person, the enjoyer, the seer. That is Adhyatmika. Adi Bhaudika, you are seeing, experience something outside. That's external to Adi Bhaudika. And Adi Daivika is that divinity which is involved in that sight. For instance, I told you the divinity, the sun is the divinity of the eyesight, of the eyes. Because without the sun, without without light, we cannot see. So this is the seer, the seen, and a factor which allows the sight to be there. That's the Tanmatra. So this is this which we accept in this threefold thing as actually is nothing at all. It is the world constituted of three gunas, is a creation of his Maya or power. That is his creation. Okay. One who has intellectually understood and spiritually realized this truth will neither praise or blame anyone and will go about like in the world like the sun that is totally unconcerned with what goes on under him. Is the sun bothered whether someone is murdering someone? Is the sun bothered if somebody is having a wonderful swim at the sea or is playing a flute? Whatever it is, sun is not bothered. He is only the witness. So the person, the realized person who has not yet dropped his body will go about in the world totally unconcerned. He moves about like that, that first yogi we talked about. So he moves about like that. He is totally unconcerned and therefore he will not praise or blame anyone and will go about the world like the sun, I said. Or in the night, they have street lamps. The street lamps, under the street lamp, a man, two lovers may be hugging or kissing each other. Another thief may be coming and trying to steal something. Another murderer may be coming in. Is the street lamp bothered with all that? No. It just illumines everything that goes on. Similarly, the man who has attained realization only looks at everything. He illumines, he knows, he's luminous himself. Therefore, like the sun, he illumines everything. He sees everything. But he does not praise or blame anyone. He does not judge, okay? So the world, because he knows that the world constituted of the three gunas is his Maya or his power. So you must understand with your reasoning that everything has a beginning, which has a beginning will have an end. And that was false. Something which, according to us, truth or reality is something which has no beginning, therefore no end, and exists in all the three periods of time. What are the three periods of time? Past, present, and future. Only that can be called to be really truth, reality. Everything else is false. Because that which has a beginning will have an end, will have an end, and therefore the in between it's only a very very small reality it has, which is not really true reality. So the true man of enlightenment will be detached from everything. He sees that this as a passing show. Like we watch the TV and we know it's just a show. We are not attached to it. We can enjoy the show, but we should not be attached to it. Okay? So now let me go to today's classes. Uddhava asks another very pertinent question. The transmigration, that is, we all know that the Jivatma transmigrates from body to body. That is, until he has reached self-realization, he has to go on revolving in the samsara chakra until he realizes his identity with that Supreme. So he says, but tell me, Krishna, transmigration cannot be had by the Atman, which is the pure self-awareness. There's no transmigration for the Atman. It cannot happen to the body, which is an inert substance. It is an object of perception. I can see my body. Isn't it? So how can transmigration happen to the body? How can it happen to the Atman? So, therefore, the experience of samsara cannot be experienced by either of these. neither can the body experience the samsara, nor can the Atman experience the samsara. So who is it? The Atma is undecaying, free from passion, unaffected by merits or demerits. That means unaffected by duality, untouched by ignorance, and above the limitation of space and time. That is the Atman. So it cannot be affected by the samsara. Isn't it? It's only a witness of the samsara. Then the body is inert, it's an inert substance. So who is the one who experiences the samsara and is involved in the samsara and transmigrates from body to body? That is Uddhava's question. Okay? And Krishna replies that as long as this Jivatma, this Atma which is the embodied Atma, is known as a Jivatma. The Atman which is embodied in the body is called Jivatma. And this is connected with the mind, buddhi and intelligence of the body through superimpositions. As in the case of the ignorant, and therefore they experience samsara as real. They are totally, this Jivatma connects itself with the body, thinks of itself as the body in fact, through the mind and buddhi equipment, mind intelligence equipment. It connects itself to the body, and that they are the ones who actually experience samsara as real. It's neither the body nor the Atman, but that Jivatma which has connected itself with the body, which has the superimpositions of the mind and intellect and the chitta all has on this Jivatma. That is the one who experiences the samsara as real. So when a man experiences various objects during waking life and considers them all to be real, we experience all this. We think this is all real. He will also experience these things in dreams. And in the dream, he'll think they're real. Isn't it? When you dream, you think that the dream is real. Oh, yeah, that cobra is chasing me. And you're sweaty and screaming and all that. So your experience of the dream is very similar to the experience in the waking state. But you think the waking state experience is real and the dream state experience is unreal. It's not true. They're very similar. Because when the dreamer wakes up, then that dream is no longer real to him, isn't it? Similarly, when the waker who is really under delusion wakes up by the words of a guru or by his other something or other, then this world also will seem like a dream and it's no longer real to him. So that dream world is also actually it's a kind of it's exact. I mean, the waking world also is something like a dream world because we experience it as real when actually it is only a sort of an illusion. So samsara will persist as long as this delusion is there. As long as we think this is real and everything is there, all our actions, interactions, this and that go on. As long as the delusion is there, it will be there. Children, please ask questions tomorrow because I just can't take time to answer questions today. Okay? Tomorrow you can, same time we have, you can ask how many questions you want. So samsara will persist as long as delusion is there. The rope will be seen as a snake as long as somebody with a light has not come. Isn't it? You keep on screaming, oh, there's a snake, 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 and it is only a rope. So samsara, similarly, the snake of samsara will keep on existing until somebody brings a torch of knowledge. Jnana is brought and you are told that this is not real. It only has as much reality as the snake in the rope. So only when the light is shown, it will be seen as real. So all the dualities of sorrow, joy, fear, anger, greed, delusion, all types of experiences also like birth and death originates from the ahankara or ego, not from the Atman. And what is that ego? That ego is that body connected with the mind and intellect equipment. Senses and intellect equipment So that all these dualities comes from even the experience of birth and death. Comes from the ahankara and not the atman. In deep sleep, there's no ego and no experience. It's a blissful state. Again and again he said, in the deep sleep, there's a blissful state. Why? Because that ego is not there. The ahankara who thinks, I am enjoying this dream, I am being hurt by this man, that ego is not there. The jiva that has identified itself with the complex, known as the body, prana, mind, senses, intellect. This has identified. That jivatma has identified like a worm has put the cocoon round itself. And though it's it's a live substance, he's put the cocoon round itself and thinks he's bound. So that jiva that has identified itself with the complex known as the body, senses, prana, mind, through superimposition, experiences all this as being real. He sees everything as that real. That is known as the Sutratma, the Mahatattva. Actually, the Sutratma is what connects us to that, that infinite. Just like the umbilical cord connects us to the mother's thing, and gives us sustenance. So it's also Sutratma. And when you are born, they cut that umbilical cord. Only then you become a separate person. Similarly, that Sutratma is a very subtle hair-like thread which actually is connected to that infinite. So that is what is at the time of death, that it remains and takes it off. The other is cut at the time. And this is also the Mahatattva. And is under the domination of time. It's under the domination of time. This is what is involved in the transmigratory cycle. This is what involves. It is not neither the Atman nor the body can transmigrate. It's only that Jivatma which has identified itself with the mind, body, senses, intellect, and so on, and is under domination of time. That is that thing which is involved in the transmigratory cycle and takes life after life until it reaches liberation through knowledge alone. The seeker for liberation wanders forth, cutting the knot of ahankara, ego. So he just walks on without, he is no longer attached to the sun. He has no feeling that I am a separate being here. I am separate. No. He feels he's one with the entire universe. That universe consisting of the Brahman alone, that Atman inside him and that Brahman is the same, that he has cut off that knot of ahankara, and which is because of his great seva to God and Guru. It is because of his seva that such a thing has happened. That ahankara actually is baseless. It comes from the Mahatattva, the cosmic ahankara, the Mahatattva, which is actually baseless. But it manifests due to identification of the mind, speech, prana, body, karma. Because everything you think, I'm doing, I'm thinking, I'm speaking, I'm the prana, I'm the body, I'm doing my karma. So when that I constantly comes, it has identified with that. It has not identified itself with that Brahman, which actually it is. Once this identification from here is cut, it will automatically identify with that Supreme Brahman or the Atman, and he will not have any transmigration. This is what is it. Because Uddhava's question is, who is transmigrating? Is it the body which is inert? It cannot transmigrate. Is it the Atman? Why should it? It's ever full, ever existing. Why should it transmigrate? So what is it that transmigrates? And his answer is that it's a Jivatma which has connected itself with the mind, body, intellect complex. It's totally connected with that and thinks of itself as a separate human being, so totally separate from everybody else. That is that Jivatma which will transmigrate. Jnana or knowledge comes when there is viveka or discrimination. Jnana comes with discrimination, when you realize that all this is actually flawed. When the light comes and you realize, oh my God, this is only a rope, and I was feeling so frightened because I thought it was a snake. So only that knowledge comes with viveka, or discrimination. The method of developing this is to follow the scriptures, do tapasya, and discipline. Only then the ego can be confined and not confined so much as controlled. You understand? So only with tapas. Then the script, of course, beginning with the reading of the scriptures or the hearing of this from some guru, and with discipline of help. Just by hearing from a guru is no use. One has to practice tapas for oneself, because one's own ego is one's own. It doesn't belong to the guru. So the guru, the guru has only to tell you the truth. But we can fortify that what he has told by reading scripture and by discipline, tapas. Some discipline has to be there. Only through discipline that the rishis were able to find out so many things about everything. Through sheer discipline, whatever happened, they will go. They were supposed to do tapas for thousands of years and so on. But even though we do even for tapas for a few days, consider ourselves fortunate. So that much of extra power we will get. So this knowledge, what is this knowledge which that knowledge dawns? Is the understanding that the Supreme Spirit or that Brahman alone exists. Ishavasyamidam sarvam. Where does God exist? Sarvam. Isha Vasidam sarvam. He lives in everything. You cannot say, oh, that house, that's Vanamali Ashram. That's where Vanamali Mataji lives. No, you cannot label him like that. He lives here, he lives there, he lives in the brothel, he lives in the place where they're chopping meat, where they eat Kentucky chicken fried and all that. He lives everywhere, as well as in the Ganga and all so many beautiful things. He lives everywhere. You understand? So that universal spirit alone exists. It was there before the universe came into existence. This universe comes into existence and goes into decline. Again and again and again it comes and goes and comes and goes. It's circular. Time is circular in Hinduism. So this, and only now the Western science has understood that this what they call the Big Bang theory and the existence, and after that it all goes back into the black hole or something. This is something which has been told to us by the Rishi long ago, that this universe which came into being at one special point in time and space will come to an end in another point in time and space. It just keeps going now, rolling. It will come because it came into existence. That which comes into existence has to come into non-existence. So this that Supreme Spirit, why does it alone exist? It alone was there before the universe came into existence. From where did the universe came into existence? From it only. It was there. That was all that was there before the universe came into existence. And will be there after it dissolved. So it must also be existing in the middle as the universe and manifesting as time and space. Deshakala, nimitta. This is this thing we wear. Deshakala, nimitta. We cannot understand anything without comparison with Desha, Kala, Nimitta. That means time, space and causality. Only then we can understand. So this was there before, this was there, it will be there after this universe came dissolved. So it has to be there in the middle also. Like the TV, white TV screen was there before you start the play started projecting itself on that. It was there before, isn't it? Otherwise the play could not have been projected. So it was there before, and when you switch off, again it is there. So obviously it has to be in the middle also when this drama was going on, isn't it? So similarly, this Supreme Spirit alone exists. It was there before the universe came into existence. It will be there after this universe dissolved. So it must be here now, this very minute as we are talking. This alone exists. This alone exists, and is manifest in time and space. Now gold, for instance, he said, remains gold before the ornaments. Before in a goldsmith shop, so many ornaments. Where did the ornaments come from? From gold which he has, pure gold. Then they have so many ornaments are there. At the end, somebody, the ornaments are broken and they bring it back and it becomes gold again. Isn't it? It remains after the ornaments are broken up. So obviously in between also it is gold, it's there. It was there before the ornaments came into existence. It will be there after the ornaments were broken up. So obviously the ornaments also made by the gold alone. During the short period of existence when the ornaments existed, that gold must be there at that time also. So that spirit alone was there before the universe came into existence. It will be there after the universe comes in non-existence. So it has to be there in the middle also. So now he identifies himself with that Brahman. The same way I am the one that appears as this multitudinous and changing universe. But I remain the same, Udhhava, unchanging, despite the changes of the universe. Udhhava, that pure consciousness permeates and illuminates the mind in its three states of consciousness, waking, dreaming and deep sleep, all through only that consciousness. Only because of consciousness you know that you're awake. Only due to that consciousness you know that you have been dreaming or deep sleeping. For instance, when someone wakes up from a sleep, he'll say, I had a terrible nightmare. And after that I had a very good sleep. Who is this I who was watching the deep sleep? Who is this I who is a witness to the dream? That I is that unchanging substance, that pure consciousness which permeates all the three states. That same I which makes me think I'm talking to you all. That same I which you all think you are seeing. So that I existed before, it will exist after, and therefore that obviously is that I which is making all this galata which we see. That same I is there. So that same consciousness illumines the mind in the three states of waking, dreaming and deep sleep. It also illuminates the three gunas of Prakriti, from which the cause of these states is also the universe, with its triple definition, divisions of cause, effect and agency. Karanam, Karyam and Karta. Karanam, Karyam, and there's agency is the Karta. Agency. There's every action, there's a Karta or someone who is doing it. Karanam is, there must be a cause for me to do some work. Karanam. Karyam is the effect. Karyam is the effect. So there must be a Karta or a doer of the action, or the seer or the eater or the hearer, whatever it is. As a doer of the action is a Karta. And there must be a cause for it. Why you are doing this is a Karanam. And Karyam is the effect which you get out of that, this thing. So that illuminates all these three. That light, as it were, that light on the street lamp illuminates the murderer, the lover, or the dog, or the cat, or the snake, whatever it is. It illuminates alone. That alone is the illuminator of all the three gunas of Prakriti, which form this cause of these states. With its triple division of cause, effect, and Karanam, Karta, and Karyam. The fourth state of Turiya is what we have been talking. Exists alongside, as a background, like the TV white screen in the background. The fourth state exists always. Before the switch was put on, after the switch is off, that's fourth state exists, like that white screen. That is the state called Turiya. Alongside with these objects, changing forms of consciousness, but continues can exist even after the elimination of all these states and all the objects. So even after the TV is switched off, that will remain there. So that example makes it easier for you to understand that which was there before this drama started, that which will remain after that it is switched off. That obviously that must be the background or the foundation of this whole divine drama which is taking on. That which did not exist before, something came into existence and ceases to exist after it is destroyed, cannot be in the middle either. That which suddenly came into existence and suddenly went out of existence will not exist, is not really existence at all, it's only a passing phenomena. That is not, that's reality, that is all unreality. This multifarious universe, which is a projection of Rajas, was non-existent before creation, but it is experienced as existing. We experience it as existing. This experience is founded on the truth of that Brahman who alone is self-existing, self-luminous, and projects itself into all these objects, including senses and mind, which are the method for revealing the world of the five elements. You follow? This again and again he has been saying that. That which was before, that which exists after, must be also the one which exists in between. And that alone is true existence. Others are on coming and going. It cannot be called as true reality, not true. It comes and goes. That is that Brahman alone, who is self-existing, self-born, self-luminous, and that automatically projects into all these things. That light automatically goes and lights up everything. It's not that it has to turn this way to light up this like a torch. Not like that. The street lamp automatically lights up everyone who comes in. The sun automatically lights up the whole world. Similarly, that is self-luminous. It projects itself into all these, makes all these appear real to us, including the senses and mind. Remember that, which are the method. The senses and the mind are the method for the revealing this world of the five elements. Without the senses and the mind, we will not know anything about the, say, absolute idiot or someone who's totally, some children are born like they have no comprehension at all. They have no senses and mind, and therefore they cannot understand the world. They cannot even see it properly or experience the world. So the body is not the self, that self is not the self, that self-conscious intelligence, because it's constituted of the earth, the five elements. The body is not the self. That self-conscious intelligence is not the body, because the body is constituted of the earth, of the five elements. Like pots or houses and anything made out of some material or other. Similarly, the senses, the presiding deities, the prana, the buddhi, the chitta, the ego cannot be there, cannot be the Atman. Because like the body, they are all based on food or matter. So they cannot be eternal. They came into force in one point of space and time, and they will come to an end in another point in space and time. So how can they be in the between? How can you say they have reality? Reality, as I said, is only that which exists exactly the same in past, present, and future. But nothing except that Atman, nothing except that Brahman exists in exactly the same way, unchanging in past, present, and future, in the three states of time. Only that Atman exists. Therefore, only that is real, and only that exists. Everything else a passing existence, temporary existence. And therefore, like the body, all these things cannot be called as the Atman, because they're all based on food or matter or something or other. The five elements and the tanmatras or products like sound and other sense objects. Tanmatras are that which are illumined by this. Now the tanmatra of the sight is, of the eyes is sight, of the ears is hearing or sound. So like the five elements and the tanmatras and other sense objects, and Prakriti cannot be the Atman. Prakriti cannot be the Atman, since they are all inert substances without chid or consciousness. Okay? There's nothing, for one who has known me fully. Here again he is identifying himself with that Supreme Brahman, and he says, for one who has known me fully, the dualities or changing moods of the senses cannot make any difference. having known me to be the unchanging substance, you can the changing drama which is being shown on the screen, can it really affect you? It may affect you for a certain amount of time. You cry when the hero is killed. You sob when the child is burnt. But it cannot, if you're a truly intelligent being, it cannot affect you always. So one who has known that tattva, that supreme, undisturbed, eternal, unchanging, undecaying, that tattva, one who has known that, the changing moods of the senses cannot make any difference. The covering of the sun by clouds, sun is suddenly covered by clouds. Does it change the sun? No. It is only a temporary covering. Makes no difference to the sun. The clouds come and go. The sun is ever there, exactly the same. Before the cloud came, after the cloud goes, it is exactly the same. So, it was there, it remains the same when it is covered by clouds and will remain without change when the clouds go. Just like the 5 elements cannot burn, dry, wet or dirty the sky, so also the climatic changes do not make an impression on the self, which transcends the eye sense and is not affected by sattva, rajas and tamas, or the gunas of prakriti. So this is all, highly philosophical, but the fact is that it is high time that humanity understood this. We have advanced so far in science. Science has also agreed that most of what we are saying is true. They will realize soon that everything we say is true. So it's high time that you who are the inheritors of this wonderful topic, that the Sanatana Dharma, this wonderful Dharma, you should all understand this fact. That just like the 5 elements cannot burn, dry, wet or dirty the sky, so also these changes do not make any impression on the self, which transcends the I, the ego sense, and is not affected by sattva, rajas and tamas, or by the gunas of prakriti. You must understand this. It's difficult to understand, even more difficult to practice. But first of all, the understanding has to be there. And that is what I'm trying to give you, the understanding. Once you have the understanding, you will start looking at the world in a different way. You will see the changes in a different way. All these sorrows and changes of moods and tensions which everybody goes through will change when this knowledge sinks into the very core of your being. But even a little bit of knowledge, trayade mahado bhayad, swappam appasya dharmasya. Trayade mahado bhayad is what Bhagavan says. That means even a little bit of this knowledge will save you from great fear. So by the practice of wholehearted devotion to me, the sadhak should vigilantly see that the mind does not form more attachments to things which are covered by Maya. We are constantly having more and more attachments to things. Just take them, they come and go. All right, today I get a lovely sweet or somebody brought and you eat it, finish, that's it. No problem. Don't run after that. A yogi who is not fully fixed in this yoga will be troubled by suppressed tendencies and the efforts of friends and relatives who will try to bring him down from the path of yoga. Remember, that's another fear for most of us who are starting to practice yoga. A lot of young children tell me that. Their parents, first of all, parents themselves, they don't know. The parents have not been told all this. The parents themselves try to bring them down from that high pedestal. So that such a person who is not fully fixed, he will definitely be troubled by suppressed tendency and by the efforts of friends, well-meaning friends and relatives who will try to bring him down. But fear not, in their next life, they will once again be drawn to a path of yoga and will succeed. That's why he says, suppose you die, you're being distracted and you're pulled down and you die before you attain there. What will happen to such a person is the question. And Bhagavan gives a very clear answer in the Gita. He says, he will, what does he say? Kaunteya pradijanihi name bhakta pradashit. I swear to you, O son of Kunti, Arjuna, he said, that was just started off on this path. Such a person will never perish. Will never perish. He will take another, if he has not attained the highest in this life, he will be given another life, another body, by which he will be able to, all his previous samskaras will start coming into him. Nowadays, because of media, we see so many children who are suddenly experts in music and Sanskrit and so on and so forth. Now, how does it come? It is only the previous Janma samskaras which are coming up. So he says there's never a death to such person. They will be allowed to practice the same yoga which they could not finish in the previous life, and they will surely succeed in their next life. And the ignorant man will perform desire-prompted actions till his body drops. He keeps on, like a buffalo, all of them. I mean, what difference between a buffalo and a person who keeps on running after this, wants that, this, that. Money, mainly money nowadays, because people have a lot of goods. So they don't want more goods. Where are you going to keep all these things? How many clothes can you wear? How many shoes can you wear? So they want just money. They suck it up. They will have to suffer the effects of these actions. But the enlightenment man, though living and acting through the agency of this very body, will be free from desires, as he immersed in the bliss of the self. Why is he not free from desire? Because he has got everything that he desires, actually. Because contentment is a person who is contented with what he has is the richest of all people. Whereas a person who is very rich and is not content with what he has is a pauper, isn't it? A person who is happy and contented with the way he has is a rich person. And a person who is not contented, even though he has so much, he's a pauper. So, this man is always immersed in the bliss of the self. Thus, his actions will not bind him. Whatever he does for the sake of the world, not for his own selfish interest. Even though he is conscious of the object, of course he is conscious of the object. Because we have senses, and they're still in good blooming. But he is convinced that what we are seeing is actually only a play of light and effect, like the experience of the dream to the waker. The waker understands that the dream he went through, though it was so real while dreaming, is actually false, isn't it? The waker understands that. Similarly, this man who is enlightened, who has woken up to the true truth of life, such a person will be convinced that the falsity of what he is seeing now. Just like the waker, to the waker, the dreams he seems false. Understand? In that state of ignorance, the body made out of the gunas and karmas are the products of ignorance, and is totally superimposed on the Atman. That is, the Jivatman superimposes that on the Atman. Therefore, it is experienced as an inseparable entity of the Atman. It is not so. The Atman, however, is always the same. It is not affected by the changes of the body. It is not affected by changes of mind, body, intellect, senses. It is remains always the same. It was the same before, it was the same after, therefore it will also be the same in between. It is not suddenly realized when one gains moksha. No. It is always there. Nor is ever lost while we are in bondage. It's not that I can say I have no Atman, because everything is different for me, therefore I have no Atman. No, Atman is there. Because of that Atman being there, that you are even able to understand this is all different. Then even the very knowledge of the ignorance is because of the Atman. So it's always there. It is not suddenly realized. It's not suddenly there. It doesn't suddenly one day you become enlightened. Then you realize, I'm the Atman. No, it is always there. It's never lost in bondage. Just as the sun, by removing darkness, gives sight to the eye. The sun is always there. But when the clouds move, then it appears as well. The sun does not do anything but remove the darkness. It does not create anything new. Understand? The Atman is self-luminous, self-consciousness, without any duality of subject-object. Subject and object merge only. It's only one beautiful oneness, one whole. There is no differentiation between me and you. There's no differentiation between subject and object. It is a one without a second. It is a deluded mind that sees anything other than that Atman. Deluded mind sees everything as anatman, that everything is different, that is different, this is different, all these differences which we see is only by the deluded mind. It is not that you don't understand. You can, of course, realize the difference between an apple and a pear or an orange. Of course you can, not at all. But you will understand that that same effulgence which is in the apple is also in the pear, is also in the orange, is also in the human being, is also in the water, is also in the sky. That understanding is there. When you have that firmly fixed understanding that alone exists, then there's a great relief in life actually. As if a huge load has fallen from you. Because you've been carrying a burden that I am different, therefore I have to fight, I have to do this, I have to do that, people are all against me. When that understanding is there, you will realize that this river is actually carrying you to the ocean. Because you're fighting against it, you think it is an enemy. The moment you relax and let go, that river by itself, by its very force, will lead you to the ocean. Thus, only the deluded mind that sees anything other than that Atman, that Brahman. Yogis who are yet to attain the goal may get physical ailments. That's nothing. Why is it that we get physical ailments? They have to be counteracted thus. He said when you get these, we are all, trying to get this thing. It doesn't mean that we will never fall sick. That doesn't mean, because the body has its own program, which we know nothing about. The body has its own program. So by concentrating on the sun and moon, he says the fever due to cold and heat can be counteracted. By concentrating on sun and moon, like for instance, Gayatri Mantra, and the moon, if you go out and sit in the, they're not asked to go and sit in the sun for a long time. I mean, unless you are really highly, practicing yogi, you cannot do that. But the moon, you can go and benefit from the moon. The moonlight, I always, come to especially during full moon days, a few days before and after full moon. The moon is so bright and so wonderful that it has a lot of power. You go and soak in that. It will automatically it will come into you. So other ailments due to Vada, Ayurveda recognize Pitta, Vada and Kapha, Pitta and Vada should be taken away. Asanas. With asanas, he says, a lot of this thing with the three humors can be taken away. And with that, combined with dharana, that is with a certain amount of meditation. Dharana, at least, it's small. It is a small attempt at controlling the mind. Other sins arising from planetary influences, for instance, serpents should be overcome by austerity, mantras, medication. Some medication can also be used. They have planetary influences which are coming from your karmic. Planetary influence is always due to your karmic residue. So these again can be controlled, he said, through austerity, through mantras, and if necessary, medication also. Preferably Ayurveda or some alternative medicine which does not, which cures the disease and does not prolong it, or suppress it rather, which does not suppress it, but like allopathic medicine, but cures the disease. So and again, what about obstacles like yogi also, practicing yogis also have lust, anger, fear. These should be done by hearing and remembering me at all times, he says. When you keep remembering God and you're remembering this thing, then slowly, and of course, which I've told you a number of times, pranayama, these other anger, fear, lust and so on, if you practice pranayama, mantra japa is very, very important. That will take away your obstacles, lust and anger. Okay? Now, what about some other bad traits, he says. He gives such clear, answers to questions which he thinks that all of you may have. Imagine this, how many years ago he said all this. Now, what about these things like pride, hypocrisy, and other bad traits? We have pride. But pride is something terrible, and hypocrisy again. We all like to pretend what we are not. We all like to pretend we are great. We never, especially once you're slowly going up in this, and then you think you're simply great, and you want to, project yourself out something great. But other bad traits should be overcome by seva. Seva alone. When you do seva to people, then it is like you are making yourself lower than them. In that way, your pride will come down. When you touch a feet of a small child, or a leper, or a beggar, then your ego is down. So pride, hypocrisy, and other bad traits which all of us have should be overcome by service to great people, or just ordinary service, seva to anyone. So some yogis practice all this in order to get siddhis. This he is against. Don't do yoga. Many yogis, they're so happy when they get these siddhis. They do it only for the siddhis. This is not correct. It will only bring the ego up to them. The body is perishable, like any fruit. So any attempt to preserve it forever is a waste of time. The body which has come into existence at one time in space and time has to come to an end in another time, another place and time. That is the law of nature. So why should you try to get siddhis in order to preserve it and keep it? It's a waste of time. You will, and by going that way, only your ego will rise, because people say, "Oh my, that man, he can just do this and give you an apple or something in your hand." So he says, my devotee should not waste time over these. One who's entirely desirelessness and entirely dependent, devoted to me, I myself will remove the obstacles in his path and ensure his success. What more can you get? The Lord of the universe is giving you this promise that if you are, all you have to do, ananyachintayanto mam yejana patyupasade yesham nityabhayuktanam yogakshemam vahamyaham, is what he said. He who thinks of me all times and does his karma without any desire for profit or result, such a person, I myself will remove the obstacles in his path and ensure his success. What more do you want? Why are you worried? Why are you taking on this entire burden of your life on yourself? He himself is given you the promise that he will take care of you. All you have to do is to surrender to him and to do seva to others also. So now actually we're coming to another thing. We don't have much time, but I'll just touch upon this, that is all. So the ask, O Lord of all the worlds, this path of knowledge that you have given seems to be extremely difficult for one who has not conquered his senses. Like all of us say, Udhhava has the same question. He says, this path of knowledge, great knowledge, jnana, you have very, very difficult for one who has not conquered his senses. Please give me an easy method by which you can become pure with. Yogis who try this difficult path get exhausted and frustrated. So I feel it's best to seek refuge at your lotus feet, my Lord. Remember, Udhhava is a bhakta. He has always worn the clothes that the Lord has worn the previous day. He has been adorned with the garlands that the Lord has worn the previous day. He has eaten the remnants of the food that Bhagavan has eaten. He is a true bhakta, totally surrendered to him. And so he says, oh, this is very difficult for me. All this understanding and all this, it's true. That understanding must be had. But to practice is very difficult. Once you are understanding the practice is so difficult because the human body is so frail. The mind is even more frail. So for us to practice is very difficult, oh Lord. What should I do? All I feel is I just want to take refuge at thy lotus feet. And I will, you are the well-wisher of the whole creation. That's why we made friends with monkeys even in your avatar as Rama. With cows in this avatar as Krishna. So what will you not do for your wholehearted devotees? We are your servants and have none but you as refuge, O Lord. We have nothing but you for help. We have no money, no power, no siddhis, no. We don't want also. We don't want anything. If a person has received even a tiny bit of your prasad, once with that feeling that this is Bhagavan's prasad. If I take it, I'll become immortal. He will yearn to serve you more and more. Who will want heaven and such other boons if it means that I have to forget you? Somebody tells me, I will take you to heaven, but don't ever think of Krishna again. Will I say, oh, take me to heaven? Of course not. I will say, to hell with your heaven. I want my Krishna, that's all I want. So, that Udhhava is true bhakta. But actually, he says, your servants can get anything they want. They want nothing but to serve you to the best of their ability. What is it that a servant of yours cannot get? Anything. They don't realize it, but you are capable of giving him anything. Even Brahma and others only long to serve you fully. So what about us, your servitors? We are your servitors. Here we will stop and take the next class next Saturday. Okay? So thank you all for joining. I hope if you have any questions on this, please do come on for question and answers tomorrow at 11 o'clock and ask, because I feel that most of you have come for this. Do not come for the question and answers, because I don't get enough of, or maybe even if you don't question, that means you have understood perfectly. You might have understood perfectly, which is good. Sometimes it may also be that you have not understood anything at all. If there are no questions, there are two reasons. Either you have understood perfectly, or you have not understood anything at all. So whatever it is, anyway, I would be happy if you take questions tomorrow. I'd be happy to do that. Okay? So we'll end here now, and with a peace system. Okay? Om Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu, Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu, Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu, Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu, Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina, Sarve Santu Niramaya, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhave. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Hari Om.